All right, our final video is going to be short and simple. I don't want to be insulting. I got to presume that you're building enough knowledge at this point, specifically based on what we did with Captivate, but also because of the usability that is Storyline. So I want to first put in a quiz, right? Just like we did in Captivate. It's unbelievably simple. So I go up here, I'm in my home, and then instead of saying new slide, basic layout, right, where I did this blank thing or anything like that, you can see as I cruise down, I have options here. I can do a graded question, I can do a survey, and I can do a free-form question. It's been a while. I did surveys maybe once. I've never done a free-form. So it's really nice to start with this graded. That way I can show you not only how to do that and manipulate things, but then do a result slide. So I'm going to say graded question. And then beautifully, if you're using 360, this slide comes up. And then I can say a theme. I can do a light theme. I can do a dark theme, right? Or I cannot do either and just build my own. You see this top bit here is nothing but blank generic questions. But as I cruise down, you can see that there's some style to some of these. That's up to you. If it seems to match what you got going on, go ahead and use it. But if not, feel free and comfortable to do this. So I'm just going to do a multiple choice, and then I'm going to say insert slide. When I do that, this comes up. And I can add my question and my answers here, right? So I'm just going to do this. Which are variable options in Storyline. Okay, so I can do that. And then I just come down here and I double click and say true. Whoa. True, false. I come down here and say number. I come down here and say text. Then I come down here and say shape. Now I realize I need to go up here and say which is not a variable option in Storyline, right? So to make sure I have the correct answer, we know that there are true, false, there are number, there are text. So the correct answer here is D, shape. That's one way to do it, right? You can even see down here in the bottom that I have correct and incorrect feedback options that I can change. But now, this isn't very pretty, so over here in the top right, you can see that I have form view, and then I have slide view. So I'm going to click on slide view, and goodness, that is not pretty at all. So I can come up here, maybe I'll grab this. And I can just move these things around as much as I want, right? And then the questions, luckily, are kind of blocked up. Whoa, let's see. You see how it's in a block here? So I can actually just grab these and move them about like that. Not much room to work with here. Okay, so is that the best way to do it? Probably not, but I wanted to show you how it's not just one and done. Once you do these things, you have options to design it. Then I can change my answer here. See that blue dot? So it didn't necessarily have to be in this form view like we did originally. Sometimes it's nice if you're doing a lot of copying and pasting, but this slide view just makes it look a little bit prettier, right? So I can do anything I want now. I can add a character to this. I don't remember what I did. I did those modern illustrated. So who do I have here? I'll have Amber asking questions. So even though it's a quiz, I can just add whatever I want to it as if it's a regular slide, and we're good to go, right? So now the thing is, I don't have a result slide, do I? When we did this in Captivate, it automatically put in a result slide. So what I have to do is I think I have to go here, or is it question tools? Yeah, okay. So once I have a question on here, you can see that I can go to question tool design. I can do feedback by question or by choice. I prefer to by the question. I can do shuffle. I can shuffle the answers. But again, if you do that, remember that all of the above isn't an option. And then it says results slide. Right now it says none, right? So I can't do anything with that. I need to actually insert an insert a result slide. So I go to new slide, and then here it is, results. So now I can pick results, and you see it's relatively straightforward again. I have a graded one, I have a survey one, I have a blank one, our choice, and then again I can just, if I did pick a theme earlier, I can have another result slide that matches my theme. But here I have this, I quickly go to insert, and it asks me this. So say I had 25 questions in this module. Say 12 of those were knowledge checks that I didn't want to actually be recorded, I just want to make sure they're paying attention. So here, they would give me an option to check which ones I want to actually show up in the results. And of course, I only have one, so I'm just going to hit OK, and then there you go. That is beautifully done and OK. So now when I go up here, and I go to my Question Tools Design, it automatically populated my results slide. And of course, there's two other things that we can do, and I'll be with you in a moment. But here you can see the scores by question. Very common, and yes, you should do that. But here it says attempts 1, okay? So before I change anything there, I want you to look down in the bottom right in our slide layers. When I created a question slide, it gave me an incorrect and correct feedback layer immediately, okay? See that? Meaning, I select this wrong, the incorrect shows up, etc., etc. But if I change this from attempts 1 to, let's say, a 3, the moment that I change that to 3, if you now look over in your slide layers, you see I have a try again layer now. That is incorrect, please try again, and the button says try again. So that's really nice that you just simply have to make a decision over here, and then it allows if you want that user to try again or not, okay? One thing I do want you to do with your feedback slides, right, is I want them to be custom. This is unbelievably storyline right now. See that? Gray box, that. People will know it's storyline. So what I want you to do is when you go up to View, you can go over to the Story View, which we don't want, a Slide View, which we know we have, Slide Master, right? So you know how to do that. We just transfer every knowledge set that you have from Captivate and PowerPoint over to here. I could change the Slide Master. But also, if you go to View, I have Feedback Master. When I click on Feedback Master, you can see there it is, that gross gray box. Now on this one, I know before I told you don't use the top one because it could cascade and remove your options of doing a title slide or any type of different. But on this one, I want you to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to drag this out here. I'm going to go to Format. I'm going to change the shape to make it just a regular square. I do not want a shadow for crying out loud, so none on this button either. So there we go. I want this, as you can imagine, the way that I've been doing things, I want this to be orange. So orange. And maybe I want this button to be over here instead. And I want it to be, I don't know what complements orange. Oh gosh, maybe this color there. Ooh, yuck, but you get the point. Maybe I want to add something in it too, so insert shape, the way that I've been doing things. Maybe I'll do something like this. It's the line. And I'll animate that animation, I'll have that fly in. Okay, well, there we go. So now, when I go to Feedback Master and close, you can see that I did all that orange stuff. I did that when I go over to my correct. See that? Incorrect. And then try again. So now when I preview this slide, which is not available, and I can say number, submit, incorrect. They want me to try again. Okay, I will. I know that it's shape. I hit submit. Now it says correct, and my button says continue. Everything's there. So my color is orange, all that. Okay. One thing that I'd like to recommend that you do when you're dealing with the feedbacks, especially the Feedback Master, is go ahead and add this. This is preferential, but goodness, you're really going to like it. I like to add a shape that encapsulates the entire slide. I want that to go all the way to the, no, not all the way to the back. Do I? Yes. So all the way to the back and or drag it to the bottom. And I'm just going to format this thing. I want it to be black. I want my transparency to be, let's say, about 55. Okay, see what I did there? So now, it looks like you can't do much on it. So when I go back to my feedback master slide, when I come to these, you can see that it's giving me my feedback, but then I can't click or do anything on the background. I only have the option to click the button. So that is that. Okay? So I'm going to, instead of closing out the video, what I want to do now is really briefly show you how to kind of change the color of this, okay? So if we look at my, right now I'm going to go to this slide. I have this black background going on here. And the reason I did that, oh darn it. And you know the reason I did that is because of the comic, right? So I wanted to make it seem like it was part of the comic. So see that? See how it's black, and then I have all this stuff going on in the middle. This, that, and the other thing. So I just wanted to have that going on. But let's say I didn't want that, right? Let's say I wanted it to be a different color. Well, we can easily adjust the player just like we did in Captivate. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to Player. When I do that, you see that it comes up, again, just like in Captivate. We get to do whatever we want here. We can change some of the features, remember? So I can go through here. So this menu, I do want a menu. I really do. Always want a menu. But I don't want it to be on the left here like that. I just want it to be something they can access at their convenience. So now that it's highlighted blue, you see I have these arrows here? I want to move that up until that menu is where I want it to be. And then it's hard to see right now because I changed the text, but it's right there if you look really close. Like there's my menu. So that's what I like to do. I like to put the menu in the top left. And then you can see that. See, it says top bar left, top bar right. If you wanted to have anything else, you could see that there's a glossary. Right now I can click this glossary and it comes up in the sidebar. But maybe I want the glossary in the top right. Once it's blue, I just move it up. Oop, went too far. And there you go. You can't see it all that well again because of my text, but it's here. I click on it and there's my glossary. So you could do just about anything. You can have a title. So if I click on this, you can see it very briefly says comic there. That's really good, especially if you're going to be putting this on an LMS. Your call. Other things that you can do is there's a volume control here. You see that hiding and closing down here. We don't want captions. I'm going to get rid of that. There's a seek bar. And just like in Captivate, don't use that unless there's audio embedded, okay? And then there's a logo thing, which, goodness, please don't ever do that. But the most importantly, what you can do is up here in the top right, you see colors and effects, yeah? So when I click on colors and effects, not much happens here except just like in Captivate, I can change, see that? They have these built-ins, which are fine. There might be one that matches yours just spot on. But what we want to do is underneath this, it says Show Advanced Color Editing. When I click on that, it says Edit Item, right? See that? Top Color Transparency. So the beauty of this is under Edit Item, I can click on that, and it gives me absolutely everything that you see on the right, even things you don't see or don't even know what they are. So base is the background. When I click on this, you can see my main background is black. Maybe I want it to be a dark gray instead. See that? So now it's a dark gray. I can do everything from buttons. You see I can change the buttons. I can change the checkboxes. I can change the glossary. So I had that menu that I put up there. You can see I can change the background of the menu and the shadow. All of these things I can do. Even the volume bar. See that? All of this stuff I can change piece by piece. Entirely up to you if you want to do it. You can even change the transparency and all those things. But it's just one way to further customize this to make it not look like it's Storyline, but something else that matches your company. You have your menu up here. You can change. You see all my options on the bottom where I can move things around. Resources is if you have a resource tab and have PDFs. This is where you update your glossary as well. And that's pretty much it. That's all you really need to know as far as things go. But when I hit OK here, now I go to Preview. You can see there's my gray. and any other changes that it might have made. So that should get you through next week. The only thing that I'm going to do is add a video, not until the end of the week, on how to publish this. And that'll be it.